It finally happened, kids. Azalea is on the Living Legend scoreboard.
Oh my god! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm!
Wait.
Everybody just calm down!
And today I'm here with Justin Soppe, the person responsible for making it happen and hero to Azalea cultists everywhere. A huge shout out to our channel members for supporting what we do here. If you want to get involved with the channel and the Dice Commando community, please consider joining as a channel member. Remember, these videos are only possible with your support. You can show that support with a like, a subscribe, and by leaving us a comment and sharing your feedback. Community first, and go Commando. Hello everyone, and welcome to Go Again, a fabulous cast here on Dice Commando. I'm here today with Azalea main Justin, who logged those LL points for Azalea at the 217 Comic Cards and Game Skirmish in Illinois, USA. How's it going, my man?
It's going great. Gotta love playing Flesh and Blood. Tonight was an armory night. Gotta have lots of fun. Did not get a player because gotta take a break. Had all the fun I could get. Need a minute.
Yeah, you got to tell the people who you were playing tonight. You told me who you were playing tonight.
We were playing Guinness tonight because we don't like playing just regular boring heroes. We like to play Azalea, Guinness, all the fun heroes.
There you go. So does that mean that my girl Azalea is on the same plane as Genus there?
Yes, and honestly, Guinness is better than people give him credit for. So he's next to get me some points in a Blitz event. So be on the lookout for that.
Oh, that's fair, man. So, all right, I just would want to remind everybody that we are sponsored here by the good people over at FabDB. You guys know them. You guys love them. They are the best resource on the interwebs for deck building, collection management, primarily that deck building. That's what all you guys are over there using them for. When you're over there doing that, make sure to consider upgrading your account. You unlock all sorts of cool features like deck backs, card testing, all sorts of stuff. So thank you to the guys over at FabDB for keeping that site up, keeping things going, and doing everything you do for the Flesh and Blood community. So Justin, before we get into this, one thing I'd like to know is obviously you're a masochist and you like to play the lesser loved heroes. That we've gathered. But what's your history of Fab? How long have you been playing? Have you always been a ranger? Are you just chasing glory? What's your story, man?
I've been playing for about a year and a half. First I started with Boltyn. Warrior was pretty fun. But then I was like, we gotta try something more not as well played. It needs something that's not good and you can think about to play. It's not just I play here and then I react and overcome what you did.
Oh, that's a shot at my girl Dory. Oh man, shots fired. Shots fired.
Any of the warriors, pretty much. That's just how they play. And then I found Azalea after I got whooped by one of the local guys with their red liner deck, and I was like, that's my hero. That's who I'm gonna pick. And for about a year, all I've done is play Azalea. Both CC, Blitz. I got pretty close into the road to nationals to get top 8, but lost to schedule. So it happens. It's fun. I think she is a very well-balanced hero, and that's what makes her fun to win on. It's not just I play all 4 cards in my hand every turn and do 26 damage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
and that's where I find
enough.
the fun in her.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how long you've been watching this channel, but Azalea is what I went into real hard in the Arcane Rising days, and I think what I enjoyed about her was that every hand is kind of your own puzzle to solve. Right?
Yes.
Like, how am I going to play this? How am I going to get the arrow dominated? How am I going to opt? So I think there's a lot of, personal victory into that problem. Would you agree with that?
So there's a couple things. So I honestly think that dominating every turn is bad. Not worth it. I think you should only dominate 4 or 5 times in a game, if that.
In a blitz, you were talking? Or are you talking CC?
Yeah, or both. I think, honestly...
Well, I mean, 4 to 5 dominates in blitz is the game, right? I mean...
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's worth it to do it because you can't strip cards, and they will almost always hit you back harder, and it's not worth it.
I think that's fair. We've actually talked about that a lot on here before, where if you're not dominating for an on hit, or if you're not dominating for victory, it kind of sometimes backfires. So I think that's a fair statement. On the other hand, a lot of her arrows have pretty decent on hits. Like, I don't know, Red in the Ledger, which is arguably the best card in the game. Like,
yes,
right?
It is great. Let's just turn everything off. It all works.
Absolutely. All right, well, we've bantered enough. Let's give the kids what they want. Let's bring up your deck list. So I'm going to go ahead and read through it. You did point out there was one thing that they got wrong on the site. So as we go through that, you can point that out. But as I read down it, just if you want to interrupt and call out some sexy includes or anything like that, just let us know. So as you would imagine, or as one would imagine, I would say in the Azalea deck, we are running a lot of reds. But let's hit the equipment package first. So Bullseye's Bracers, that's an AB, great arm piece. He's running Death Dealer and Redliner. We're running the Spring Tunic, no question there. Perch Grapplers, I imagine, is mostly just for your block. Is that accurate?
2 block, yeah,
Yep.
2 block.
And then you're running the Cross Wrap, which has the Opti-Op. That's hers. Not a great headpiece, but it'll get her
It's
done.
the best headpiece. I think that's a lie. I think it is better than New Horizon. It is a
for Azalea, but it's not better than New Horizon.
It works with none of the Ranger cards, sadly. So any of the cards that say reload, it does not work with.
That's a fair statement. Yeah.
And so it kind of bricks a couple things, and I'm not the biggest fan of it. Whereas it's not as useful for Lexi, the cross wrap, because she wants to flip her own arsenal.
Mm-hmm.
But I think overall, having the versatility and the AB plus the 1 block late is a lot better than just the 2 block up front, and then it bricks.
Mm-hmm. No, that's fair. And I do want to point that out because there may be people watching this who are not as familiar with the history of Ranger, right? So the reload mechanic specifically says if your arsenal is empty, right? So even if you have New Horizon, your arsenal, and you have 2 arsenal slots, let's say, your arsenal is not empty. So reload does not work in that case. So that's specifically what he was referring to in that case, and that's important to conceptualize for that point. So
same with Death Dealer and Redliner. Both have the same clause. Mm-hmm. There has to be no cards.
Yep. And we all thought that was going to be a big deal when, what was it, the Death Boar, whatever it is, came out.
Boar, yeah.
Which did not amount to any, because I don't see that on here. So.
No, I'm not a fan of that card. Even if people want to play D-Rex, I guess be my guest.
And I don't see any of the increased attentions or anything like that in here, right? So.
Nope. Don't need it.
All right, well, let's go ahead and go through the reds, and like I said, you can call it out. So we've got Boltyn Shot. I mean, I don't think that's a shocker. We have Endless Arrow, also not a shocker. 2 E-Strikes. We have 2 Fatigues. Fatigue is the one that cuts the attack, the next attack action in half, halves it, so that's pretty good in your Guardian meta. We have 2 Oasis Respites, which, would you agree, is pretty much mandatory in Blitz with all the wizards running around?
I think it's mandatory in both Blitz and CC.
Okay.
It is probably one of the best cards to come out in the new set. First of all, it goes around CNC. It's an instant. So yep. CNC can't block it, and you're just like, oh, I block with a 3 block from hand, and then, oh, I break Tunic for my resource, and I full block it, and since I'm possibly and most likely less life than you, I gain a life. Mm-hmm. There's no downside to it.
Absolutely. Actually, I'm going to put a pin in the Tunic. I want to come back to that. That's a good point. So we have Read the Glide Path, right? That's the plus X and Opt.
Yeah.
Which is really good for Azalea. We have Red in the Ledger, no doubt there. 2 Remorseless also include. We have 2 Ridge Riders. Do remember, folks, that when you're playing Ridge Rider with Death Dealer, that the draw happens before the Opt when that goes in, so that's very big. We have Salvage Shot. That's a recycler, which is pretty hot. That's a 1/5 recycle. We have Searing Shot, which is, I mean, even Lexi plays that. That's bread and butter. We have Seek and Destroy. Cue the Metallica music. Awesome card. We have 2 sleep darts, and then we have 2 take aims. That's the +3 block 2 with reload. Going into the 2 pitch, we have Feign Death. We're going to put a pin in that baby. 2 Memorial Ground. I think that one makes sense to everybody to put it on the top to do the Azalea thing. We have 2 Rain Razors. That card is... Oh, we have 2 yellow Glide Paths, and we have 2 yellow take covers. And then perhaps the
yellow take cover is supposed to be red. That was the one.
Oh, it's a red. Okay, that's the call out.
Yep,
that's
it's
right.
a red take cover. Yeah.
You told me that, and I was on autopilot. You're right. It's a red take cover, which makes sense. And remember, take covers. It's basically a Sink Below or a Fate Foreseen, except that it reloads instead of does the thing. A lot of times you do see Fate Foreseen in Azalea, which we don't see here, but because it lets you do the peak. And then, that's a good. So why not Fate? Take cover. Why not Fate? Yeah.
Honestly, I was debating taking out take cover at all and running yellow sifts, and that's what I switched it to now.
Yellow sift. Interesting.
Oh, yellow sift is amazing. Testing has made that one of the best cards ever. You put it in your arsenal, so you throw it upside down, and then you flip it. You get your free opt. You don't want that card? Well, that's great, because then you play sift, dump all the non-arrows that you don't need, grab stuff that you do need, and then continue to play, because then you can Death Dealer down an arrow and draw another card. You get to look at 4 cards for the chance to do something good.
Interesting. Okay. Well, there you go, folks. There's your hot tech for the evening. And then I think perhaps looking at the list and hearing other people chat, perhaps the most controversial topic is only 2 blues, which are 2 knocks, right? Which is your tutor. So yeah, that's the list. And again, thank you for reminding me. You told me, and I forgot about the red. So that those yellow take covers are red take covers, which does make sense. So any other comments before the lists or on the list before I kind of go into some of the points?
So the blues, the reason why there's so little, don't really need it for what we have. We can pitch a red to brief. Most of the other defensive actions are free. So there's no real need for lots of blues, considering our turn can run off of just a yellow or a blue. And so when a yellow or a blue makes up a third of your deck, you'll get on average 1 that you just hold on to pitch to Death Dealer and shoot any arrow. So the blue is kind of just almost wasted at some points. Unless you have like a Razor Reflex in hand, then it's not as bad. But I still wouldn't prefer it over like having 9 blues in Blitz. I would just feel like you'd have way too much blue. And not have the damage to push over some of these really defensive decks that people have started to create in Blitz. The turtle meta is slowly upon us once all these big baddies are out of the way. I can feel it. That's how I feel, at least.
Well, but we're talking Blitz here, though, right? So it's going to be a while before we get some LLs in Blitz, I think, again. But maybe not. We'll see. So that's interesting, right? So, while we're on the blue subject, have you played around with Tri-Shot at all, especially with Death Dealer? Like, that seems pretty good.
If I was running lots of blues, which there is a deck I'm coming up with and is in the works that would make great use of it, because then you're Perch Grapplers and you'd run Rapid Fires, so you could actually do multiple shots. Right. Otherwise, you're very limited on what cards you can use in the bow that have go again, that are actually worth using.
It's funny you say that, and I want to get it on record while doing it. I'm actually working on a cast right now with it's a jank cast, but it's rapid fire Tri-Shot. It's a jank combo, but when it goes off, you're going to feel like a hero. But I want to get that on record right now that I'm already working. So anyway,
mine will include minnowisms and belittles. So, and this will be a CC deck.
Oh really? Oh.
Yes.
Well, there you go. You're going after that bounty then, huh? True assassin fashion, and going after that big bounty out there.
I'm going after trying to do what I can to be the first to get points wherever. Especially for Azalea. She's been my favorite hero. The artwork on her is gorgeous. Yeah. She's just great.
Awesome. Well, and then so last question I have on the blues. One of my favorite cards to run in Azalea actually is Ridge Rider Blue, because it kind of does a lot of things. So I didn't see that. I thought that one was an odd one to not have in here. So what was the thought there on no Ridge Rider Blue?
It does 2 damage, and throwing it into your arsenal with Death Dealer is not as worth it because you're just throwing away blue.
Interesting.
And you put it back in the deck, yes, but there's not many times you get through 2 cycles in Blitz half the time. You can possibly force it to 2, but you'll never see it the second time through the deck at all.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, I think that's a fair statement. It's just having the relief valve of the blue. So, I mean, is that the same logic of like lunging press is something that I've always used to use in the past? Have you trusted that?
I tried it at one point, but anytime I felt like, oh, that's great, it's just now that Rain Razors is out, that's just a better card. For what Rangers want, it's just better.
Well, for what is
it? It gives more value, and it also pitches for yellow, so you pitch it at the beginning of the game, just so you're like, I have the card, be ready for it at some point. Pitch it, you get the first arrow and your bow, first payment, it's pretty great. And then it comes up the second time, and you're like, okay, so now that I have all my strong cards, we're going to play it, and now all my arrows give for +2. Or I can hold it and react past their step.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the card is just straight good, right? I mean, there's no question there. Like, even if you only get 2 out of it, it's still a good card, right?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, fair enough. Well, let's sunset this. Hopefully everyone, I mean, again, if you need to see it, it's on that's right, the man's on the LSS webpage. Forever will live in infamy. But yeah, so all right, so do you have any other tricks in that deck that you might want to make people aware of?
Feign Death is the best, absolute best card in Ranger, hands down. If you're not running it, I think you're playing Ranger wrong. It helps with so many things. And let's say you're having a warrior matchup, they're coming in for that second swing. If you took 1 damage, even just 1, like it turns on Feign Death, you block no matter how much they attack react. It doesn't matter. It's fully prevented from that source. Same with like wizard matchups. You let them do that big chunk of damage to you, and then when they go to Blazing Aether, you go, well, took the damage, I prevent all of it for one resource. You don't need blues. You just pitch a red and play it, and it saves you.
Yeah, that's a really fair point. I played in a skirmish. It was just yesterday. Got my ass handed to me, but Kassai was all over the place. And one of the issues I've always had with Kassai is that her second swing is so huge. So that's a fair, because a lot of times you're right. You'll take just a 2 Saber with a Blade Runner and a second swing and whatever the heck else they play. Yeah, you're right. That's kind of a bummer for Kassai to take 2 and then Feign Death. That's a really good point, actually.
It becomes the strongest defense reaction that is also not a defense reaction in the game.
Right.
Because since it's not a defense reaction, it bypasses anything that says no defense reactions can be used, and it's an instant. So it happens at the very end to prevent everything in the beginning.
Yeah, and if you're a wizard and because that's what they're doing. Wizard is generally, well, Kano, sorry. Kano is arsenaling Wildfire, right? I mean, that's what he's doing, and then trying to go off. So that, you take the Wildfire, which sucks, but they popped all their stuff. So yeah,
if you have Oasis, that's what you have Oasis in the deck for. When you're playing against Wizard, you save it till you see Aether Wildfire, and that's what you use it for.
Yeah, your disadvantage is that you can't put it in your arsenal like everybody else can. But
but who needs it in your arsenal when you can put a card in your arsenal and then draw a card back to your hand?
I'm not going to argue with that. That's fair. Yeah.
It just breaks even. So you just hold the card. That way they also, if they never see it, they never expect it coming.
Yeah, no, I'm on board. And you know what? I have not. I'll actually do this in the. You know what? Never. I was going to commit to something because the data won't be there. I was going to say I'll go pull the TCG player prices on Feign Death and see if they went up.
Oh, it's awful. It's absolutely awful.
Well, I was gonna say I wanted to
Buy
see if
your Feigned Deaths now.
wanted to see if it was going up now that you've done your thing and you're here promoting. It'll be we'll call it the Dice Commando bump. There you go. I'm the new Rudy. Go buy your Feigned Deaths now, right? Just call me Rudy.
Go buy the Feigned Deaths now before
There
they
you go.
get super expensive because it's the best Ranger card.
That's right. That's right. This man right here, he's doing a buyout on Feigned Death. So there you go.
Nope, I bought out too many other things. Can't do that.
Just kidding. All right, last question I have for you actually is you included both Death Dealer and Redliner, and I'm very curious to hear your matchup. Right, so they're both there. So what's your matchup dependency? Oh, also another quick because this is Blitz. Your what do we call it? It's not your loadout. Your loadout was not a full 11 cards. You were just like, screw it, this is all I need. Like,
who needs 11 cards? What's bringing the extra Arcane Barrier going to do? I have Arcane Barrier too. That blocks Rosetta Thorn.
Yeah, I mean that is a fair point to point out that two of your natural things do have AB. So I mean that's fair. But even
Just
like
for now,
with like
unless we get better gloves.
But like no snappies or anything like that in the right. Like if you don't need to block, you could run snappies.
I always want 2 life. 2 life is desperately needed.
Oh, but I mean, like in the wizard
house.
matchup, why not throw in snappies and?
Because if I'm going to commit to using my boots for something, I'd rather have just to go again on all the arrows for the turn. Because that means I probably drew my blues. And most of the time when you try to have go again turns, your go again is from Boltyn Shot getting a bonus. Or you raise a reflex, but normally that's as an ending to push over damage at your dominated arrow. If they somehow do add to it.
Yeah, sure. Fair enough. All right, so yeah, but anyway, back to my original question before I got sidetracked. My apologies. Was Death Dealer versus Redliner? Where does that come in?
Death Dealer for everything except Valda. Valda, you use Redliner because she will absolutely eat you alive with you drawing cards.
Yeah, but I have bad news for you kids. That's what I played in my skirmish was Valda, and I did not do well this skirmish season. So, but yeah, it does.
I don't think you were playing Sift Valda. If you were playing Sift Valda, I think it'd been fine.
Nah, I agree. Because I ran up against. There's a local guy who's an Azalea main, and it's a feel bad to get that free resource every turn for sure. My 4s become 3s, and yeah, no. So that's fair point. So there you go, man. You know how I'm talking to. You need a pack Redliner for my matchup. No, well done. Well played. All right, cool. Well, were there any... So, the tournament itself, right, the skirmish in question, tell us a bit about that. Like, how many players were we looking at? Did you have any cool moments?
We had 8 players. The cool moments was the lineup. We had 2 Azaleas, a Guinness, a Valda, a Kassai, and... Who was the last one? Drawing a blank on the last one. Dorinthea. And Datadol. Those are the 8 heroes that were there.
Okay.
So it was
so your hard
off the
matchups
wall.
are, I mean, yeah, with all the armor on the warriors, that's a uphill battle for you to land
Fought
those on
Warriors
hits.
2 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, fought Warrior twice, and Valiant Dynamo is the strongest Warrior card in the game. Cannot change my mind on that. You swing twice, and
Fair
it's
enough.
+1 defense. It's absolutely ridiculous.
It's
When all my stuff
card.
breaks on hit.
Well,
stuff
yeah.
break on hit. I'm jealous. The Data Doll, that was a very rough match for her. It did not end well. Obviously, first turn was coming in for 12 damage, dominated. So she couldn't even cycle her hand to start the game.
Yeah, well, I
Which
mean,
is
a 3-card
really
hand means less when you're dominating stuff, I suppose. So,
Yeah. She was the only exception I dominated everything to because she was going to try to boost everything out of her deck anyway.
right. Yeah.
The first match was against Dorinthea.
Mm-hmm.
That one just came to block second swing. Block second swing, make life easy.
Mm-hmm.
The last match was... The finals match was the hardest of them.
And
Kassai
that was
is
Kassai?
so strong.
Yeah.
Kassai is so strong.
Yeah.
She can swing so hard for the second swing. It's just not even fair.
But that's where
Coming in with this,
but that's where your Feign Death Tech comes in, right?
That's where Feign Death comes in. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we were just talking about. Yeah. No, that makes complete sense then. So, yeah, that makes sense. The path makes sense. Because
and that was a very long game. That game, let's see here. I got 4 Tunic resources out of it. That's how just block heavy, or we just really didn't get damage through one side or the other.
Interesting. So, because that was another thing I think I spoke to earlier and forgot about was so what was your average Tunic? Did you generally got 1 out of it, or?
The first game I got 3. The second game I got 1 barely. Because on that last turn I had the resource and I killed. Because I had a 5-card hand. I put a card down and drew another card. I was like, well, we just have 3 buffs and let's just buff and kill her. She's probably got an item. She didn't have an item, but it already did too much damage.
Okay, so it was Datadol round 1 then.
No, it was Dorinthea round 1.
Oh, Dorinthea.
Yeah.
And then it was Datadol?
Yes.
Oh, so Datadol won a round then?
Yep.
Interesting. And then Kassai... So Kassai and you met in the... Because it was an 8-man, you said, right? So
yep.
It was, you were both 3-0.
2-2.
Or 2-0. Yeah, 2-0. Yeah. 3 rounds. Well, that's interesting. Go Datadol. Nice.
Mm-hmm. Shiana made it also first round win. So it was interesting. We were going to have a very interesting skirmish.
Yeah,
we were all playing to have fun.
That is an interesting skirmish for sure. But man, regardless, you did it. You're the man who put the points on the board. So aside from the genus thing we were talking about, so that's the next question is what's next for you? You said you like to be the guy to do weird stuff. What's next? What's next?
So we're still playing Azalea and CC.
Mm-hmm. So you are chasing the bounty.
Oh, I am. I put too much time and effort into learning how she plays because that's where I started playing her in CC first. I didn't play Blitz with her until like 4 months ago. Mm-hmm. Because I like playing Kayo. Kayo is fun. Kayo is one of the backup techs of really good decks that I like to play. And I say good wholehearted. I think he's very well balanced if you build him correctly. Same with Guinness. Guinness is literally just an all generic deck that has good cards. And that's kind of how it does.
Yeah, I bet one could argue then why not Cavdane too, right? So
its ability is not as good. Guinness's ability actually has usability in a game. Telling someone, hey, you can sink a card, but I'm going to collect a silver. And when I get 2 silvers, even if you weren't thinking about it, I'm going to cash it in. And that's 2 free cards. And it's even better when you get to cash in before you break Mage Masters or Time Work to play a Tome of Find All from Arsenal. And you're like, oh, I just gained 7 life. Hope you were ready.
Yep. Combo, and combo. Well, fair enough, man. So anyway, I want to thank you for taking time. I know that you're on later time zone than I am and getting back from your armory, so I appreciate you taking the time. Are there any shout-outs you want to give before we call it a day?
I would say there's a shout-out to Devin. He's the one who showed me the Azalea way. He beat me so bad that I just had to be the player. Had to do it to him back. And then 217 Games for hosting all of our games, and then Board Night. They're another close store that we get to play at all the time, and I love it. Love being able to go to local events and support the local LGSs.
Heck yeah,
That's what the game's about.
Heck yeah, man. Playing games in the flesh and blood. Thank you to stores who host great games. All right, man. Well, again, thank you so much for the time. Congratulations on I think it's fair to say etching your name in somebody's arrow. I think that's at least fair to say. So anyway, you got to say it with me, man. Nothing else. Go Commando.
Commando.